Hello, everyone. In this video, we will introduce a new feature in Java. This is records. Often you need to create a simple object to hold data. Before Java 4, you have to define a class and write a lot of boilerplate code. This is tedious. However, since Java 14, you can define a record to simplify coding. Now, for example, this is the class teacher has data fields, constructor, and the access methods, and toString, and equals. You can write one line code to replace all of this. And this is a one line code. So here's one line code. This is one line code. It's a record. You can define a record teacher with data fields as the arguments right here in the header, name and date. The compiler automatically generates this code right here. There's one line for all of this. That's a big time saving. All right, so let's use record in this example. And here we have this record for teacher with data fields, a name, a birth date, and weight. So creating these two teachers with name, date, and the weight. So you can now get the name. Now, please note that this is not get name, it's name. This is the access method. It's different from the Java beans and get method. So the reason is in the record, you only have the access methods. You don't have the mutated methods. So this is for the simplification. So you don't need to have get. So just go with the name. Actually, you can simply just write this name. That should be fine. In this case here, that's here the record here, and you can get the name, the data fields. Now the data fields here, you can see that it is not actually private, it's final. So all these data fields in the records are final. You cannot modify it. So for example, so let's run it. And so first make sure this is the, I think at least you have to have 14 to run this code. So now it's actually preview, so you need to have 15. So it's it has to be this. Not even 15. So let's see, go with 16 now. Okay, so you have to have 16. I think what happens is this: if you go with 14, that's in 14, it is, I think it's a preview. You have to enable it, enable the preview. So I think let's just go with 16. 16 is the, now in 16, records becoming a standard feature. All right, so this works fine. But if you want to do this, teacher one dot name and change it to something like Marissa. And you're gonna see an error message. So here it says cannot assign a value to final variable name. So that's all the data fields and inside the records are final. So you cannot change it. Now the record automatically generates the toString method and also equals method. And you can see this toString, it displays the name of the class and all the data fields values. So this is the name of the record, teacher. And this is the equals. And so to test if two have the same contents, and so this is now false. For this record, and look, right now we have this empty body. You can actually modify the contents here. You can, by default, it has a constructor. So the constructor has all this arguments from the record header. You can modify the constructor. So you can write the code like this here. So if I want to do something like this and to require non-null value for name. So here is to modify the default constructor and the birth date requires non-null, and this is weight if it's less than or equal to 0 through exception, and weight is non-positive, so that's not right. It has to be a positive value. And note that this is very unique for a record. It does not have all this list of the arguments here. You don't put it here. And so this is called a compact constructor. So this is called compact constructor. Now, you can have multiple constructors. So the default constructor has all these arguments right here, and you can have a no-arg constructor. So let's write a no-arg constructor here. So this is now a no-arg constructor, and this constructor you have to use this and to call the default constructor. So let's have another one. You can have another constructor. So this time, this constructor has one argument, that's name. So you have to use this to construct it. So this, and use the default date and default weight. So please note that if you don't do anything right here. So if you say, I'm going to comment this, and this default constructor with the arguments from the record header can always exist. There are some restrictions on records. Pretty much you can use records just like you use class. it's treated like a class. You can construct objects from records, and you can invoke the methods. You can define static methods, instance methods in a record. There's some restrictions. You cannot extend a class. Say I wanted to do extend something. No, you cannot extend anything here. Anything here? No. However, you can implement interfaces. For example, implements comparable something, you can do it, and this is fine. And you can implement multiple interfaces. You can declare static data fields. But no instant data fields. So all these instance data fields coming from the record header. And all those data fields, instance data fields are final in record automatically, and that's the compiler will do that for you. A record cannot be extended. So you cannot say, I'm going to write something here and to define a class and that extends feature. No, cannot do this. So it cannot be extended. And also it cannot be abstract. You cannot say, I'm going to have an abstract or record. No. But in summary, this is a new feature. You have to use JDK 16 to compile it now. And this is a standard feature now in JDK 16. You use record to simplify coding. So sometimes you just want to have data. So you represent data. Data has the attributes. So the attributes now becoming the this arguments in the record. You define record, and record automatically provides you with the default constructor and all this access methods and the toString methods and the equals methods, and there are some other methods, and you're going to see it in the future, like a hash code method too. That is all for records. Thank you for watching. Bye.